5.4 Triton. Ford engine. The cam phasers. I just want to put here on a video that I'm doing something, you know, it's probably on the out in the left field, a little crazy, whatever, but these phasers, I locked them out with a lockout. So in order for these phasers, these phasers basically are a gear right now. They do not function anymore like they were before. Variable timing is not existent anymore. It's on an advanced position. Well, when I bought the lockouts, I bought them for the Ford OEM part, and I have my lockouts inside, which eliminates it from moving. So I found out my spring was broken. Okay, which it goes like, this spring goes like this position right here on the left, by watching multiple videos, because my springs, I had taken them apart without looking at them, so I found out this is how it sits. And the spring sits right here, and this middle of the 3 goes right here on that L, if you can see that, for timing. What this spring does, okay, when you buy the lockouts, we really don't need the spring. The spring sets it back into the retarded position. Inside, when you take these bolts out, the longest bolt you leave, you slide this cover over because there's a spring in there. It could hit you in your finger, it hurt. And you slide it over, you put your lockout in, there will be a little spring right here, yeah, underneath this. And there will be a little pin on the bottom and one on top to retain the spring, and the pin on the bottom locks the phaser inside with the fans. The oil comes in through the phaser, through the bolt, the yielding bolt, comes into the back, pushes oil in, pushes up that pin, which releases the phaser from its original retarded position, and enables it to advance. Once you have turned the truck off and the oil pressure has dropped down, the only thing that pulls it back to drop down that pin into the position is the spring. It's connected to the base, and it's also connected into the inside, which turns in here. So I come to a conclusion watching many videos, asking, getting nasty remarks, you know. I can always go get phasers, used ones, Fords. I got lockouts. Get used Ford phasers from the local junkyard and put them in, and still continue doing my project for not a lot of money. But I just want to know, and I know that I don't need this spring. Okay? So what I have done here, and what I'm doing
right here,
is inserting these little pins. Now, I don't like to use JB welding or any kind of stuff like that. I'm not a big fan on it, but I guess, you know, there's a lot of people that are, and this is going to be one of my experiments, I guess. Okay, so these little pins you see that I'm putting in, they're just pins, whatever. They're not really the best steel. This steel can be bent, I mean, really easily. They're not meant to hold anything. They're just, only reason why I'm even putting them in there is to hold it in the place that I want. I just want them as guides so that I can set my timing exactly where it goes. Correct? Right here. So I can weld tonight, and it'll be dry in the morning. I'll weld with JB Weld, liquid welding, liquid steel. I will weld it where I want it. It holds it there. It'll give me a little support when I go to put the bolt in to hold the JB Weld. That's all those pins are for. These pins are not to hold a lot of weight. They're just a guide. They can actually be removed after if I wanted to, but I'm going to leave them in there. I'm trying to make them short so that I can leave them in there. Just tap these in there. You got to get the measurement kind of right. I mean, it depends if you like this kind of stuff. It's tedious, but I mean, hey, I like it. I'm already modifying it with the lockout. So what am I going to keep doing? Keep modifying it. There. That one will be fixed. All I have to do is weld it in its position with JB Weld. I don't want to get any JB Weld in the oils holes. I still want oil to flow, even though the oil's not going to, even though it doesn't even matter, to tell you the truth. It doesn't even matter if I get JB welding in the oil holes. I could basically, from what I heard on videos, the reason why people go with lockouts is because the engines are over 100,000 miles. They're old and the oil pressure is not that great. So the last thing that gets oil pressure is your phaser. So if you're putting a lockout in your phaser because you have low oil pressure, then it doesn't matter if you have no oil in here because the oil's not doing its job anymore. The only thing that matters is you get oil on the outside of your chain. That's it. You're lubing your chain and the gear is spinning. And it's spinning. But the inner components are not functioning anymore. So the oil pressure that this is ran off. The oil pressure comes in, pushes the pin up, pushes over the fans, it seeps through, and it adjusts the variable timing, which this is not a variable timing anymore. This is a set in place timing. It's a stationary timing at the full advanced location. So even if I get JB welding on here, JB weld it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter if I get oil inside here or not. It's just gonna stay still. And so it's better to get oil in there because you have a block. So anyways, enough of that. I just wanted to run that past everybody. So this one, like I said, is done. I have to line those up precisely. They're just a little guide, but I still have to stay within the limits there of those circles. And in the middle, have the old pins are bigger. These are going inside the old pins that broke off. And I'll glue those in later. Hey, so welcome back. So I'm using stuff here. Upside down. Marine Weld, JB Weld. I got the steel one too. But this is a putty, and these always give you a better bond for stuff that I'm doing here. So let's mix this stuff up real good. So it turns into a gray steel looking like. You can heat it up, and if you want it to be a little thicker, you just mix it a little bit before you're going to do the application. Let it sit, and as it's curing, it heats up chemically. You can start using it after it gets thicker, but just use it quick because it will dry fast after it does start to cure. So, but in my case, I want it to be a little just the way it is because I want to be able to work this stuff in there where I want it. Now, this phaser is not going to move. So I'm going to put a little dab here. I don't want to put too much. I'm going to put a little dab here. A little more than that. A little dab right here. A little dab right here. One over here. Okay. I don't want anywhere my bolt's going. Alright. So that is right here. Correct. Correct. And right here. And just spread it all on here. Get it on both sides. There we go. Alright. I didn't put it in the holes because I want to be able to see where they're at. I really want this lined up pretty good. I don't want to have to do work afterwards, it's dry. Okay, now I can pretty much tell where it goes. So now I'm going to put a little dab on top. And another little dab right in here. And then I'm going to work it in there. I want it to go in that pin. So everything that pin's not doing, I want to fill it up around the pin. Okay. That way that pin's a lot stronger now. It's surrounded all, no hollowness, no movement with JB Weld. Okay. Now I want to check my timing position. My timing position is important. That L is lined up. Now it should be. As long as you have these pins in there, it'll be lined up. Now you see I have quite a good little mess down there. Alright, number 2 phaser. I already have the pins in here, so I'm just going to put a little bit of this JB Weld. A little bit here. Okay. A little bit here. And some inside there. This time I'm going to put some in there. And I'm going to put some in this one. Okay. I don't want it to get stuck in there. This phaser's already shot, so I have nothing to lose. I'd have to get new ones anyways. Alright, so I'm going to run this out here. A little thin layer. It's like a gasket. It's like a gasket maker. But JB Weld. Alright. This is for all the old pops I see using all the time. JB Weld, and it's their era. They grew up on this stuff, and I've been condemning it forever and against it. Look at me now, using it. So I'm gonna set that right in there in its spot. Where is she at? There. And then I'm gonna seat it good in there. And then take off all the excess. It's good to have yourself a little clean cloth. Clean it. Take all that excess out of there. You don't need it. When you go to tighten this bolt, it's gonna do pretty much the work you want to do. You know what? I'm noticing something here that I gotta take care of now today. There we go. Alright. That's a good thing about using this kind of metal that I used. It's one of the reasons why I used it. There's those little clips I showed you in the beginning of the video, because the metal is so soft that when I put my nut in there, my bolt, it's gonna flatten that metal. My washer's it's not gonna affect my torque at all, even though I'm torquing mine down a little more because it's older. Okay, and just line up. It's very important that you line up that arrow perfectly. I don't know if you can see that, but the bottom of the V needs to be in the middle. But you got those pins down there. You got those pins that help you out. So anyhow, you see what I just did. The 5.4 Triton Ford engine, which is used in a lot of different F-150, the Navigator. The cam phaser failure. I did lockouts, new chains, new tensioners, new guides, and original OEM Ford phasers with lockouts. I found out my springs and my toners were busted, so I just kind of did a little remedy, took out the springs. I'm discarding these. You see these? See these? You'll probably never see anyone on the internet doing this video. A lot of you are going to have a lot of bad things to say about this, but none of you ever have the answer. Do you need these with lockouts? Well, if you're locking it out, and this is a spring that goes in circles, and your lockout stops something from going in a circle, the whole phaser, then you don't need it. This is history. You don't need it. You're deleting these. All this is going to do there is put tension on your lockout and wear and tear on it. It's better to have your lockout tight, completely locked. Make sure you're not at 20 degree. You can also make your own lockouts also. You can make them out of metal, aluminum, epoxy. You make your own lockouts and lock out your whole phaser. You don't have to buy them. You can fill it up, take out the blades, fill it up with JB Weld, lock out your own phasers. If that's what you got, if you have a truck in your backyard, you really don't want to spend no money on it, and you know you have problems, and you just want to get new phasers, take yourself, get some JB Welding. You can fix You can lock out your own phasers, open them up, lock them out. You don't have to wait for anything. Your bolt, you basically can lock your bolt in too. If you needed to reuse your bolt and you don't need oil going to your phaser because your phaser's not working in there no more, it's only working on the outside, you could do that too. But that's a whole nother thing. I'm not trying to go that far, but if I had to, and there'd be a lot of things that I know what I could do. I just like knowing what I can do, not guessing and not doing as instructions are told. I want to know the engineering of the process I'm doing. You don't need these. They're gone. Tomorrow, I'll show you guys a video of the rest of the timing job that I'm doing. Top dead center. The timing job. I'm using the vice grip method. And put it all back together. And we'll run it. And we'll see if my JB Welding redo phasers act worked it. Have a good. I'll talk to you guys then later. Thanks. Bye.